What's up, guys? Craig Mack here, Liberty Bell Beekeeper. So I'm up on the roof today. As you can see, probably behind me here in Philly, we got some snow this week. Here in the city, somewhere I think 3 to 5 maybe. Tough to tell because we had a lot of wind and it drifted quite a bit in some areas, and we know how that works. But today's been pretty nice. Temps are in the 30s, low 30s. Last night we dipped into the teens, so everything's kind of crunchy and iced up at this point, but we got a warming trend happening a little bit this week, up into the upper 30s and the 40s, and I think even in the 50s later in the week. So most of our snow will probably melt this week. It doesn't generally hang around too long, but the reason I'm here today is to talk about winter inspections. Now, people do winter inspections very basically, because you obviously can't open the hive and disturb the cluster and let all that warm air out and moisture in. But we can do a couple of things to check on the hives. Now, one of the most basic things you could probably use is a stethoscope. Stethoscope is, if you didn't know, used to listen for your heartbeat. Doctors and nurses use them all the time. You can also use them to check on the health of your colony. Basically, it's only going to tell you if they're alive or if they're dead. I do use this from time to time when I'm doing cutout work to try to locate the cluster of the bees before I do the removal, but not the most effective way to assess your bees or to even find them in a cutout. But not a bad thing to have around if you're interested in purchasing one. They're very inexpensive and they can serve a purpose for you, but not my favorite. Next is what most of us would already know is a thermal imager. Now, this is a handheld thermal imager. I got it on Amazon. Costs like 160 or 180 bucks, something like that. It's good within, I think, an accuracy. This is saying a plus or minus 2%, which is within 3 or 4 degrees. And what this will do is, I also use this for my cutout work as well. But what it's going to do is give you a screen reading. Basically, it's going to show you heat. So I don't know if you can, how well you can see this, but if I point it at the ground, you might be able to see, you might not, that is blue. And as I pan up to the colonies, you can see the boxes light up a nice, beautiful burning red and yellow. Now you can use this just to see, hey, yeah, my colony's alive, or if it's dead. If it's dead, obviously it won't have a heat signature like this. If it's alive, it most certainly will. So this is a great, useful tool. I use these all the time when I'm doing my cutout work, because it just makes finding things that you can't see behind a wall a little bit easier. Now, it does have its limitations. It can and will not read through masonry work all that well. Plaster walls, it's not great. Unless you have a really sizable colony inside the wall, it doesn't really do a nice job through masonry, at least in my experience. And I don't know that it's worth spending any more money on one of these to get one that's going to read that well, and I don't think any of them are going to read that well. There's only so much you can do with reading heat through stone. Unless the heat signature is really high, you're not going to see it, or it'll be very faint. I have used this before in plaster walls and was able to find colonies, but usually those colonies are massive, and the heat signature is just off the charts because there's so many bees in it. This one comes with a little side holster which can go in your belt, which is nice to just do your assessment and find your bees. One of the last and the only other thing that I would use in my inspections is an endoscope. For those of you that don't know what an endoscope is, it's just a camera with a semi-rigid wire that I can use to fish into a wall or any cavity to assess the depth, how far away my bees are located in a structure. I use this in my construction job to locate wires or plumbing or whatever you need to do. It's a great way to it's a great way to look into small spaces before you do any cutting. That's hugely important for me doing cutouts before I do the cutout work, to make sure I'm making a precise cut in exactly the area that I need to get into, so that way my repairs are that much easier to do. Now I also use this for winter hive inspections. Because of the nature of it, it's so small, I can zip this into an upper entrance or to a bottom entrance. I can look across the bottom board, I can look up into the cluster without disturbing the bees, without opening lids, without doing anything else, and just get a visual inspection of my bees. It's great. It's really nice. It's kind of cool to see and kind of cool to show people, like, hey, these bees aren't dead, they don't hibernate, they're alive and well and doing their thing throughout the winter. So those are the three preferred methods, I think, of inspection: thermal imager, stethoscope, and my endoscope. I love all three. I don't use the stethoscope hardly at all, but I do on occasion use it. I find my thermal imager and this endoscope camera are my best options. Now, today I came up because we did have snow and we did have some freezing temps and all that good stuff that you can see. My lower entrances have been snowed in on the north side of my colonies. The south side, no problem. But the north side is blocked up in a good portion of my colonies. Now, this one is pretty blocked, but one like this, the colony melted it away from the box enough to where I could probably leave that and not feel bad about leaving it. The bees can get in and out if they need to. They can also get plenty of air, and it's providing a nice little windbreak and a little bit of layer of insulation, kind of like an igloo. But not all of them are same. You know, like this one here is pretty much completely blocked. There's a little space there, but not enough space to get the bees out. So I'm just going to go ahead and clear that with a shovel just to give them space so they can get out, because they will be able to get out this week. That's the train. For those who don't never seen my channel, I get the trains all the time because I am literally right next to train tracks in the city of Philadelphia, and a semi-industrial, semi-residential area. So the bees are alive and well. At least most of them are at this point, early in winter. Not counting too many of my eggs before they hatch, because we've got a long winter ahead of us. This is the most snow we've gotten in a couple of years, but we still have several months left of it. So we'll see how things go throughout the winter. And maybe next video I'll do some endoscope work, but today I'm tired and I don't feel like it. So we'll see you next time. Thanks, guys.